Hello everyone, this is the Audacity tutorial. I'm going to show you a couple of things on how to set it up and some of the tools you can use to clean up the sound of your audio. So the first thing you want to do is go to the Preferences, which is under Files. Excuse me, it's under Edit, Preferences. And under Devices, you might notice, like around here where it says Recording, like mine, it says Channel 2 Stereo. If that's selected, what'll happen is when you try to record, you'll see two stereo tracks being recorded simultaneously. I'm going to go ahead and delete that now because that's just not necessary, and it'll add extra data to your file that you don't need. So go ahead and go back to Preferences, switch that to Mono. The next thing, playback, you don't need to worry about, is under Recording. One thing that you might find really annoying is that when you make a recording and then you go try to make a new recording, it's going to lay down a second track and then play the first track at the same time that you did the second track, and I'll show you what I mean. Test, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, test. Okay, so that's the first track, and you can see also now that I have it under one mono, so it doesn't have that stereo effect we saw before. But now watch this. So what you're going to hear is 1, 2, 3, you hear my voice again. So that obviously is pretty annoying. So what you can do to fix that is go to Preferences, under Recordings, uncheck the auto dub, the overdub here, and that should take care of that. So let's test it out now. Test, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, test. Okay. Next track, and we don't hear the first, and that's really good. So now, but the problem is that if we play both these tracks, we're going to hear both at the same time. Next track, and we don't hear the first, and that's so if we want to just listen to one track, we have a couple of options. One, we could mute the first track, and then we would only hear next track, and we would only hear the second track. Or, and my preferred option is to solo the track you want to hear. Next track, and we don't hear the first. The reason for that is because suppose that I'm going to unclick solo here. I have several recordings that that I'm dealing with here, and I don't want to hear all of these. I don't want to have to go through and click mute, mute, mute to every one of these. I can just click solo over the one I want. Several recordings and that will take care of that. So I'm going to go ahead and close these now so that we can record a track to work with. So a couple of things before you get started is it's always good to have a fairly good microphone. I actually chose and wearing the worst microphone I own right now, just so that I can demonstrate some of the things that this can do. One thing you might try is putting some tissue or like some kind of cloth or maybe even a sock over the microphone, and if you do that, that can deal with any sort of pop noises, like if you have this kind of pop, pop, pop sound coming through your microphone. So the other thing is when you start recording, you want to give yourself 5 seconds of silence. The reason you're giving yourself silence is because, like for instance, right now I hear in my room the whirring sound of the air conditioner, and my computer is fairly loud, so I'm picking that up too. So you want to put yourself in as quiet a place as possible to make your initial recording, and it'll be easier to clean it up afterwards. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I'm going to choose a poem by one of my favorite poets, Percy Shelley, and we'll just read a little bit of that. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Okay, so I've got this long track here, and if we replay this, you should be able to hear some hiss in the beginning recording here. There's not a lot, but it did pick up some. So, and if you can't see it, what you can do is, like, I'm going to expand this down so you can really see these little pops and things that are showing up here. So you don't necessarily have to pull this thing down to see it this much, but I just wanted to visually show you that. So what we're going to do first is use the noise removal tool. So you'll highlight your beginning section, then go to Effect, then go to Noise Removal. Then what you're going to do is get Noise Profile, and it's going to analyze that section for the background noise that it hears. Then what you need to do is highlight the entire selection, go back to Effect, Noise Removal, and then click OK. Now let's hear, let's see if that made a difference. And I believe that took care of most of that noise. It's really pretty good at taking care of a whole lot of noise, so you might try that. Also, what we're going to do is, the next thing is normalization. So we're going to keep everything highlighted. And what normalization is going to do is it's going to increase the waveform as loud as possible, but without clipping it, so it shouldn't sound rough on the edges. So you're going to go to Effect, Normalize, just keep all the settings the same, and you can see the wave got a lot bigger. Now let's listen to what it sounds like. I'm going to go ahead and start it over here. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Okay, so that sounds pretty good. Now what we're going to do is highlight again, and we're going to do compression. And what that's going to do is even out the voices. So you can see here that, like, some of my words are really loud and some are kind of quiet. And we want to make that where they're closer together, so so there's not such a loud, so much of a difference in volume. So we're going to go to Effect, Compressor. Now with the compressor, what you want to try to do is keep the threshold. Like right now, mine is set to -17, so this is the only one you want to worry about. Try to keep it between 20 and 15 decibels. So right now I've got it set for 17. I'm going to turn it to 16 and then go ahead and do this. You can see that it sort of expanded some things out here. Now let's listen to it. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Okay, now what we're going to do is equalize it. So you're going to go to Effect, Equalization, okay? And then it'll bring this up. All you need to worry about is down here where it says Select Curve. So the first thing we're going to do is select Bass Boost. And what that's going to do is bring out the basses in your voice so it sounds a little bit deeper. Click OK. I'll give you a little sample of that. The fountains mingle with the river, and the river. and you can hear that the basses are a little bit deeper. So now we don't want to just keep the basses that way, so we are going to do treble boost as well. And now let's listen. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to, you can see that it's kind of started to make these things, these waveforms expand pretty far out. So we're going to do the normalization again. Normalization. And that brought things down a little bit. Now you can hear. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. Okay, so that's not too bad. Now, I want you to notice that on this back end, there might be some peaks that were a bit too high. So what we're going to do is use a thing called a hard limiter. What the hard limiter is going to do is it's going to basically shave off the extreme portions of the waveform so that there isn't anything that sort of goes over in the red on your scale. So really you want to keep that here, the limit here to about 4. It's probably starting off at 0. So go ahead and switch that to 4 and then press OK. And you can see this part here, it chopped it off, the top and bottom. So I'm going to undo it just so you can hear what this sounds like. So you can see there's the waveform. Listen to this. With a sweet emotion. So you can see that's where that S sound is coming in, that big hard S. So now let's do it again, and with the hard limiter. Now let's listen to that section. With a sweet emotion. So it's a little bit of a difference there. Okay, and the last thing after doing that, we're just going to hit the normalization one more time. Okay, and now I don't need this section here, so I can highlight it and then just press delete, and then listen to it again. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Okay, so it sounds pretty good except for a couple of things. I heard a little click right here and right there. So all I'm going to do is just take a little sliver, delete that, and a little sliver, delete that. If you get to a place where you feel like you've deleted too much, like there's not enough space, you can actually add generate, where is it? Generate silence. You can see here that, and we'll do this. Generate silence. Maybe copy that. So copy, paste. Okay. Now let's listen. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. There's a little bit at the end. Delete. Okay, now we're good. Okay, so that is basically how to clean up and make your audio clips sound a little bit better. One more thing that you might want to do is this. So let's record a couple more. This is going to be track 2. This is track 3. This is track 4. Okay, let's say that I'm recording all at once. I have my script out and I'm recording each session. Like say this is my recording for slide 1, this is my recording for slide 2, slide 3, slide 4. So I want to separate all these and turn these into MP3s so that I can easily import them into Captivate or another program. So one thing you might do is come in here and say name, slide 1, change the names of these tracks real quick, slide 2, slide 3, and slide 4. Okay, now I'm going to go to File, Export, actually Export Multiple. And it's going to give me some options here. I'm going to do using label track name. So then we'll do this, and I'm going to just, actually, where am I going to put these? I'll put these under my music file here. Export. And you can see that the title track is slide 1, and there's slide 2, and then you can see it says slide 3 and slide 4. And they're actually, I must have done it to WAV. So you can change that to MP3 by choosing the under options here. Let's take a look. So, because I did that as waves. Let's see, choose export options. So if you go under options is where you can choose MP3. Which I'm not seeing. Okay, so I just checked. I'm actually recording this on my personal computers, so for some reason mine does not have the export to MP3, but yours will give you an option right above export multiple that will say format, and you'll have 3 options: WAV, MP3, and OG Vorbis. So your MP3 selection will be there. And that's it. That's pretty much it. Thank you.